In this episode, we are going to examine one of the most frequently overlooked risk areas in cloud environments, which is how administrators remotely manage systems. Remote administration is necessary because modern infrastructure is distributed, and administrators rarely sit physically next to the machines they control. However, the path used for management can either concentrate risk into a well-defended channel or scatter it across many internet-facing interfaces. When administrative access is exposed directly to the internet, attackers are given a clear target to probe. Safe remote administration is about designing narrow, controlled entry points that protect powerful management capabilities from widespread exposure. Before we continue, a quick note. This audio course is a companion to our course companion books. The first book is about the exam and provides detailed information on how to pass it best. The second book is a Kindle-only ebook that contains 1,000 flashcards that can be used on your mobile device or Kindle. Check them both out at cyber.author.me in the Bare Metal Study Guide series. Administrative interfaces are inherently high risk because they allow configuration changes, user creation, network modifications, and service deployment. If an attacker gains access to an administrative interface, the potential impact is much greater than compromising a standard user account. This is why internet-facing management ports and consoles are especially dangerous. Even with strong passwords and multi-factor authentication, MFA, a publicly reachable management interface invites continuous scanning and brute force attempts. The safest design principle is that management interfaces should not be directly exposed to the open internet. Instead, they should be reachable only through controlled pathways. One foundational concept in safe remote administration is the idea of a bastion host, sometimes referred to as a jump server. A bastion host is a hardened system that acts as a single entry point into a private network. Instead of exposing every server's management interface publicly, administrators first connect to the bastion and then access internal systems from there. This centralizes administrative traffic and allows tighter monitoring and control. By reducing the number of exposed endpoints, the attack surface shrinks significantly. Concentrated access is easier to defend than distributed exposure. Private connectivity plays a crucial role in this architecture. When administrative systems communicate over private network paths, their interfaces are invisible to the broader internet. Cloud platforms typically allow virtual networks that isolate workloads from direct public access. By placing management ports inside these private networks, organizations ensure that only approved pathways can reach them. Public internet traffic cannot directly connect to these interfaces. This structural separation is one of the most powerful ways to reduce management risk. Strong authentication remains essential, even when access paths are controlled. Administrative accounts should always require MFA and, where possible, phishing-resistant authentication methods. Because administrative credentials are high-value targets, attackers frequently attempt credential theft through social engineering and malware. Combining controlled network paths with strong authentication creates layered defense. Even if credentials are stolen, they may not function outside the designated access channel. Layers increase resilience. Device trust is another important factor in safe remote administration. Administrators should connect from managed and secured devices rather than personal or unknown systems. Device posture checks can ensure that the connecting device meets security standards such as encryption and up-to-date protections. This reduces the risk of compromised endpoints being used as launchpads for administrative misuse. Safe administration depends not only on who is connecting, but also from where and how. Context matters. Another critical practice is minimizing persistent administrative sessions. Long-lived sessions increase the window in which stolen session tokens can be abused. Short session lifetimes and periodic re-authentication reduce this risk. Administrative tasks often involve high-impact actions, so requiring fresh authentication before sensitive changes adds protection. These measures align with the broader principle that trust should not persist indefinitely without validation. Controlled session management reinforces safe access paths. Role separation also enhances remote administration safety. Not every administrator needs full access to every resource. Defining roles narrowly limits the impact of a compromised account. For example, A network administrator may not require direct access to database configuration settings. By segmenting administrative duties, you prevent one identity from becoming an all-powerful gateway. Scope roles complement controlled network paths. Monitoring and logging are indispensable components of safe remote administration. All administrative actions should be recorded with sufficient detail to trace who performed them and when. Centralized logging allows security teams to detect unusual patterns, such as off-hours access or unexpected configuration changes. Because administrative actions are powerful, deviations should be investigated promptly. Visibility discourages misuse and accelerates incident response. Time-based access controls further reduce risk. Instead of granting continuous administrative privileges, organizations can implement just-in-time access. Under this model, elevated permissions are granted temporarily when needed and automatically revoked afterward. This limits the duration during which high privileges are active. If an account is compromised outside the authorized window, elevated actions cannot be performed. Time constraints add another protective boundary. It is equally important to disable direct public management features that cloud platforms may enable by default. Some services provide optional public access for convenience during setup. If these settings are not reviewed and restricted, they can create unintended exposure. Verifying that management endpoints are bound only to private interfaces prevents accidental risk. Secure defaults must be actively confirmed rather than assumed. Regular audits help maintain this posture. Secure remote administration also benefits from layered network defenses. Network access control lists and security groups should explicitly define which systems can reach management ports. These rules should follow a default deny philosophy, allowing only approved sources. Explicit rules prevent unintended cross-access between segments. By combining segmentation with strict network filtering, the management path becomes tightly constrained. Boundaries reduce opportunity. Emergency access procedures should also be designed carefully. In rare scenarios where primary management paths fail, fallback mechanisms may be necessary. However, these fallback paths should be equally protected and documented. Uncontrolled emergency access channels can undermine the security architecture. Planning ahead ensures that continuity does not sacrifice protection. Preparedness avoids improvisation during crises. Ultimately, safe remote administration is about recognizing that administrative access represents concentrated power. Exposing that power broadly across the internet invites unnecessary risk. By limiting public exposure, enforcing private connectivity, requiring strong authentication, and monitoring activity closely, organizations create a controlled and observable pathway for management tasks. Each layer reduces the likelihood that attackers can reach or misuse administrative capabilities. Thoughtful design turns remote administration from a vulnerability into a manageable and secure process. When these principles are applied consistently, the environment becomes both more secure and more predictable. Administrators know exactly how they are expected to connect, and security teams know exactly where to monitor. The attack surface narrows, the risk of accidental exposure declines, and incident response becomes clearer. Safe remote administration is not about blocking productivity. It is about channeling it through defensible pathways. That disciplined approach is essential for maintaining strong security in any cloud deployment.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.